Steve Brusati. I'm a paleontologist. I'm one of those lucky people that gets to dig up dinosaurs for my job. And I'm a professor at the University of Edinburgh in Scotland. A few years ago, I was asked to be a paleontology consultant for Jurassic World.
Hi, I'm Hazel Richards. I work at the Melbourne Museum and I'm a curatorial research assistant. My role has been helping to pull together all the scientific information for our Triceratops project to develop the pose and anatomy of the mounted skeleton in the exhibition.
The Triceratops is one of those classic Jurassic Park dinosaurs. It was a star of the first film. And yes, it was in a pretty passive role. I mean, there's the famous scene where, Ellie Sattler, Laura Dern's character, sees the sick Triceratops and tells something is wrong.
Scientifically, it nailed it more or less. I was really struck by looking back at it and looking at the size of the Triceratops and the sort of girth of its belly. Certainly with our specimen, that's very much supported in what we saw in the kind of the radius of the ribs. I was really struck by how well it really does hold up over time.
One of the roles in the first film, at least to me as a viewer of that film, it just conveyed dinosaurs as animals. This was something that could get sick. It was real. It really made it seem, almost like something out of a nature documentary, that scene.
There's only one way to be positive. I'd have to see the dinosaurs dropping.
Dino dropping?
I think the only nitpick on it would be its sort of elephant-like feet,
Right, that's right. There is an issue with the feet of Triceratops. The feet would not have looked like elephant feet. Dinosaurs actually walked on their fingers. The series started with designs that way. That's part of the classic design. We didn't know as much about the feats of these dinosaurs back then, and so that design has persisted. There's a few other little things like how some of the raptors hold their hands in a drooping way. These things, they're just part of that classic Jurassic Park look. They're not easy to fix 30 years later. So those are some of the areas where classic design, in a sense, wins out over the full knowledge of modern day science.
There's a scene that I really like in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom where they're in the gyrosphere and rolling along, and there's a galloping Triceratops next to them running away from the pyroclastic flow from the explosion. It's such a great sequence, and seeing this enormous, like 9-meter long dinosaur galloping along at full tilt.
I know there's been big debate about how Triceratops stood, what its posture was, kind of the hind limbs versus the forelimbs, and how it could move. Could it move fast? If it could move fast, how did it do that? Did it kind of move in a somewhat mammalian way? Probably not, because these reptiles have different setups to their joints, but could it kind of gallop in a sense, in a reptilian sense? As a consultant on a film like this, I try to make sure the movie makers understand the science, they know the science, they know what we currently know, they know where the gaps are. You really do need spectacular fossils like the one you have, where you have all the bones there from a single individual, an entire skeleton or close to an entire skeleton.
With Triceratops, there's still so many things that we still don't know, even with a beautifully complete specimen, like the posture and how they walked. The complete specimen is only the first step, it's the science that happens after that is really going to start digging into these questions.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that's something also that, I hope moviegoers recognize, is that you always have to be humble when it comes to fossils. These things are so old, and there's just so much that we don't know. So we need some artistic license. We need some comparison to modern day animals. We need a little bit of speculation. We need to have a little bit of fun too.